Hey guys, welcome to episode 25 of T.H.O.R, aka the House of R.E.P. We're really proud that the show is growing and that we're building a fan base, so thanks for subscribing, liking, and please share where you can. This episode is really cool because we're going to talk about a film that me and Z love a lot. It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. This is part of a 3-part series where we talk about the first film, the second film, and then in episode 27, we'll be talking about Bill and Ted Face the Music. So it's going to be a triple release, and it's going to be really fun. We're going to be talking about the whole trilogy and the evolution of Bill and Ted as characters and why we love them so much. They are really fun characters, and we love Keanu and Alex Winter in this franchise. And Bill Sadler, he's very good in this as well. William Sadler, who plays Death. So it's an amazing ride, and we can't wait to go on it with you. So stay tuned for another episode of the House of R.E.P. Okay guys, so this is episode 25. So me and Z are here. Say hi, Z.
Hey everyone, welcome to the House of R.E.P.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna be talking about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Now, Z, tell me about the film. Tell me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, awesome. So this is a most excellent film where we see a very young Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter play these two kind of like really young adolescent teenagers who live in kind of like 80s San Dimas, California.
Yeah, was it 1988?
So it's kind of like 1988, 1989.
I wasn't even born yet.
So we were like really young kids when these guys were making this film.
Yeah.
So it's very cool in that sense. We kind of came across this film maybe in when we were like really young, maybe like 10, 11.
Yeah, I remember seeing it about like 10 or 11. Like it was really wicked when we saw it.
Did we see it on VHS?
I remember it being on Channel 4.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever saw it.
Television.
Yeah, we had a tape of it. We recorded it.
Yeah.
But the tape ran out of space. So the film is split in half.
Yeah.
So we always used to look for the other tape where it would be the bit where Keanu would say, Ted, don't forget to wind your watch. Yeah. So whenever I watch it, in my mind, it's been ingrained. There's a tape split.
Yeah. And
in the tracking era.
We had no intro.
Yeah, we had no intro, so we never saw...
We actually saw the film like 1/3 into it.
Yeah. So for a long time, that was the movie for us.
First epic 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Where they talk about the future. They talk about, I think it's 2693 or...
Yeah, like sending
26th century
George Carlin back, isn't it?
So George Carlin plays this excellent character called Rufus.
What a legend.
He's a legend comedian, and I love him to bits. He's so good.
Yeah.
And he plays Rufus in this film, and he's a future. What is he like?
He's
kind of like a historian,
sort of like a historian, teacher, and time protector.
Yeah.
Like an agent of the Time Protection Agency or whatever.
That's right.
So basically, his theory is that if he doesn't help the Wyld Stallions, then the time will unravel, which also plays in part to the storyline in the third one.
Group, right?
Yeah, Wyld Stallions is the actual band that Bill and Ted have made. So they've got a wicked name, and they're very cool. Very, very cool. I mean, like, when they first started, they can't play, like, properly. They don't even know how to play guitars or do chords and shit. They just kind of strum and stuff and, like, let the distortion go away. And they're desperate for, like, Eddie to be in the band, which is quite funny because, like, they say, like, one of the jokes is that when Eddie saw the film, Eddie Van Halen, like, wow,
sick.
top G.
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen's like one of my most favorite guitarists. I love that guy. Him and Van Halen, their work on Van Halen is just so wicked. I like Roth era and I like Hager era, Van Hager, the people say. And I really like the Roth era though. Like Roth era for me, is like the all-time sickest.
So they give Rufus this time booth, right? Tell them about the time booth.
Yeah. So the thing is that originally in the script, right? The thing is when they were making the script, it was going to be like a Chevy van. It's kind of like in Back to the Future where it was supposed to be like a fridge or something silly like that. Whereas in this one, it was a Chevy van. But the writers are like, okay, Back to the Future came out not too long ago. Let's change it. So what they did is they turned it into a phone booth, But they also didn't think about Doctor Who, because Doctor Who's like one of those police telephone phone booths. They they were around in England at the time. So I don't think they put that connection together, but they didn't care. But the time booth is so wicked. I love that signature phone booth. Like it just is timeless. The way the antenna comes up. One of the plot points in the film is that the antenna breaks. So if you haven't seen it, mild spoilers, watch the movie and you'll understand.
You can,
if you haven't watched the movie, then it's really weird. But then obviously
it came out in cinemas before the third film.
Because some of our younger listeners might have not seen it.
Yeah,
they might not seen it.
Definitely recommend it on VOD or Blu-ray.
Now there's a 4K restoration.
Yeah.
So they've painstakingly restored the film. So it's a really nice restoration. It's an old film, so it was shot on traditional 35mm, but it still has that timeless quality, and that's what I love about celluloid film. It really captures the moment, and I love San Dimas and I love California. I go there as often as I can, but because of COVID, I haven't been able to visit stateside, but it's like my second home away from home, and I love it. So it's great. It's just great to see that environment, and it's really cool. Basically they're going to fail their history report and they've got to do it, and it's like the end of the year for them. It's like graduation, so they won't be able to graduate high school. So then Rufus basically comes and tells them, look, you guys are the saviors of the future. Go take the phone booth, go through history, and find historical figures to help you with your report. So then they end up, I think the first place they go to is Billy the Kid's time. They go and run into Billy the Kid.
Yeah, they go into a very, very kind of Back to the Future.
It's very much like Back to the Future 3. They're so similar. They go to that saloon and then they get beaten up. Yeah. And then Billy the Kid kind of helps them and saves them because they were helping Billy. Billy was betting or something and they beat him or something like that. So Billy the Kid's cool. He's played by the guy who plays...
I like that.
I've forgotten the actor's name. He's a really cool guy.
He played Ram Ram.
That's what it is. The Ram actor, and he's a really good actor. So Dan Shore, he had an iconic role as Ram in the original Tron. So we'll be talking about the original Tron and how much of an impact that was too. That's also a really fun film. Like the digital frisbees and stuff is and light cycles are really cool. And Tron 2 is just amazing. I love that movie.
So he plays Billy the Kid in this film.
So basically, some of the highlights for me in this movie are obviously Keanu and Alex Winter's chemistry is amazing. George Carlin is amazing as Rufus. Production design is really cool with the phone booth. Circus of Time CGI is really good for the time. The whole time travel aspect, I've always loved that. The historical stuff was really good. The supporting players are really good, like the actor who played Beethoven, the guy who played Napoleon, almost stole the movie. Socrates. Yeah, Socrates.
Socrates.
Yeah, Socrates. Some people say. Yeah. So Socrates. They call him Socrates basically, but it's so funny. And there's so many great stuff. You've got also so you've also got the legend Al Long. He plays Genghis Khan in this. This guy is the guy that you see in all these action films. Where they play films. So if you have some guy who plays the heavy, the villain. He's like the torturer in Lethal Weapon 2 that Riggs kills. The guy who's electrocuting Riggs. And he's been in a few other films. He's an amazing actor. Very amazing choreographer as well. He's choreographed a lot of films over the years, so it's amazing to have him in it. He has an amazing scene in the mall where he starts taking out all these mannequins and going crazy. Basically, everyone doesn't know what the mall's like when they come, so they go to the San Dimas Mall and just all hell breaks loose. First, they pick up Billy the Kid, then I think they pick up Socrates. Then they pick up Sigmund Freud, I think.
Yeah, Sigmund Freud is the next one.
Yeah,
because they go to Berlin.
Because they go. So they have Sigmund Freud, who they obviously dub Ziggy, which is so funny.
Yeah.
And Ziggy and
Abe
Lincoln. They pick up Beethoven. They pick up
Joan
who I used to think that this was Winona Ryder when I was a kid. So I thought Winona Ryder played Joan of Arc in one of her first roles.
Yeah.
But who played Winona Ryder? Not Joan of Arc. Jane Weldon. So I don't know what Jane Wheatland was in after, but she almost is like uncannily looks like Joan of Arc. Yeah, so that was really good. They also go to medieval England and then meet their wives, which is quite good.
About the best character. You forgot about Napoleon, bro.
Yeah, Napoleon. Yeah, sorry, bro. So Napoleon. So Terry Camilleri, yeah, this Italian actor, he played Napoleon. Napoleon steals the show because Napoleon actually wasn't part of the original pickup. He was in a battle, but then at Wellington, Waterloo, he was at the Battle of Waterloo, and he got hit by a cannon or something, and the cannon's explosion made him fall into the time stream, one of the time tunnels. So the Circus of Time, he actually fell through. So for a while, they didn't realize that he was with them. Then they met him, and then they left Napoleon with his brother. So his brother was supposed to look after Napoleon while they went to do something. And then his brother got sick of him, so they ditched him. So basically, he got stuck and he couldn't pay, at the bowling alley, like all the stuff that the kids did. So
also talk about like their dads and stuff and the family and
so the family dynamic is really funny because like
Bill,
if I remember correctly, Alex Winter's character Bill, he dated Missy, or he took her out or something. Then she's dating his dad now. Because in the sequel, she's married to Ted's dad.
Yeah.
So she's like a kind of like a student, but she's like a bit of a man-eater. Yeah. So she's dating his dad. So he keeps calling her Missy, but he means mom. So that bit's funny. So that's really funny. So it's like his high school friend is now his mother. So that's what's really funny.
Weird.
And so there's a lot of fun stuff that happens and stuff and. So Napoleon, is hilarious. My favorite bit in the film. Okay, one thing I want to add, the soundtrack for this film is dope. So all the songs are really great. The medieval bit is funny when they have their little sword fight and they make fun of Star Wars. I used to love that as a kid, You're not my father, and then they were fighting. And then basically Alex Winter's Bill, right now Bill just keeps going out of my mind, but Bill basically thinks Ted died, but he fell out of his suit, which is really weird. So
there's a scene where they're fighting in
they're fighting in medieval
armor.
Yeah, it's like knight armor. Like broadsword armor.
Broadsword armor.
Yeah,
they're lugging broadswords at each other, like being kids and teenagers. And basically they're fighting, and Ted basically gets kind of like pushed and falls.
He gets bumped in it, shoulder bump by Bill, right?
And falls down some stairs, and then kind of gets discovered by one of the guards, medieval guards, and then Bill is kind of like looking on, and then
he's like, "Oh no, Ted got killed. He got stabbed by some dude." Because
he's like, "Ted."
Yeah. Then the guard comes up and he goes, "You killed Ted, you evil medieval dickweed." It's so cool. And then they have actual kind of sword fight.
Tussle,
and then Ted beats him up with like a. What does he hit him with?
With like a pork chop, or
it looks like a giant
ham.
It's like ham. Like a giant leg of ham, or like
something like that.
I don't know what it is, but he hits him right on the backside of the head, and then they kind of get later on they get captured because the Duke or whatever, because they have a funny moment where they're like, "I am the Earl of Preston and I am the Duke of Ted." So Ted says that, and then they get executed for basically fraternizing. I mean, they're basically being like scheduled to be executed, not executed, because that'd be the end of the film. Basically, they were about to get basically executed for falling in love with the princesses, and then what happens is the hangman comes, the axeman comes to behead them, and then it turns out that the executioners, the executioners is the correct term. The executioners, turn out to be Socrates and Billy the Kid, innit, who save them, and then they escape. But then when a night, what happens is they take the princesses. They don't take the princesses. They just tell the princesses they love them because they don't come with them. And then what happens is that there's a chase, a wicked chase.
On horse.
They escape, but one of the head knights, he has like a mace and he's spinning it.
Yeah.
But
he kind of swings at
when the phone booth goes through the time tunnel, it gets hit, so the booth gets damaged. And then they have to use gum to repair the antenna, so that's quite funny. So a lot of funny things can happen. Meantime, Napoleon is just wandering San Dimas. And then he ends up at like some kind of
Water slide.
water park, innit?
Yeah.
So when he ends up
That's
at the
the
water
funniest
park,
bit.
that's really cool because he discovers it, and the tune is so wicked. The I don't know, the boys and the girls are doing it. You know that wicked song. I remember that song like
Classic
it was.
kind of songs.
You know, it's such a wicked riff, that song. I don't know, I can't remember who sang that song. I've got the soundtrack, but that song is so wicked. And the editing, the flow of that, you know...
comic timing.
The comic timing of Napoleon. Then they find Napoleon, basically. Somehow they retrieve him. I don't get... Like, I've forgotten the timings, but there's a bit where they're all arrested when they're in the San Dimas Mall. They all do fun stuff, and then they get arrested. And then they use something called the time game, where they're able to manipulate time just by saying that they're going to go... and then come back and then leave things for themselves. So they leave a key for themselves so they can escape. You know, they drop a bin on their dad's head that says Wyld Stallions rule to stop him from, you know, basically... Because he wants to send Ted to military school. His dad's quite stern.
Yeah,
he's
very
thinking
strict
that, like, you know,
character.
he's not very good and he's not going to achieve. He's a bit of a slacker. They use kind of like voice memos and other kind of distractions to distract his dad and to escape.
In the police
And then I
station.
think Missy comes to pick him up or something. And
Yeah, because they still got the deadline to get to the presentation that
so
they
I
have
think
to do at their
getting
school.
arrested at the police station is kind of like really hard for them, but then they're able to pick up Napoleon. Then they have a very cool report at the end where they have this wicked
Long
tune.
sequence.
And
really nice sequence at the end.
you know, the phone booth comes and then everyone comes and talks about stuff, all the historical figures. Abe Lincoln says be excellent to each other and all that kind of stuff, and
It's
Genghis
really
Khan
nice,
gives
like,
off a martial
nice
arts
kind
demo.
of like kudos to like history and stuff.
Yeah, so it was very nice. Like Alex Winter likes to say, he said there's some trivia like that. He gets two types of letters from teachers. One's where they say that you really made kids love history, and the other one's from English teachers who say you butchered the English language and, you know, stuff like that. You know, because you made kids talk like you know, with your like excellent and bodacious and, you know, that kind of surfer slang. So basically, this film is, I'm very fond of this film.
Yeah.
This film is like one of my favorite movies of all time. It was directed by the same director who did Gremlins and all the other kind of cool films of that era, Stephen Herrick. So Stephen Herrick basically had directed a few really good films that I love, like The Mighty Ducks with Emilio Estevez, and I think he directed the Disney version of Three Musketeers, which I like, which had Kiefer Sutherland and Chris O'Donnell in it. That was a good and very underrated Disney style, you know, like it was a kind of like an American
He also
version
did
of
Holy Man. I like Holy Man.
Oh, Holy Man is a classic film. So if he's directed Holy Man, then this guy's one of my all-time G directors and a great inspiration to me. So Stephen Herrick, thank you very much for these movies. You really inspired me as a filmmaker, and Z2. Brilliant work. I love the production design of this film. It was shot really well. The cinematography was excellent. And the cast and crew were brilliant. This film is just so amazing. At the end, they get like these amazing kind of, I think they're not Rickenbacker.
Yeah, they get
they're
some, like in the end sequence, they get these really kind of weird looking guitars.
I think I know what they're called.
no
They're like a
head or
German
no-
company
no
that made them. They're
headstock.
called Schwarzenbaggers or something like that. I
Yeah.
can't remember what they're called.
Rickenbackers or
I'm
something?
not Rickenbackers. Rickenbacker guitars are
Les Pauls.
no Rickenbackers are like, they're like dual string kind of jazz guitars.
Oh, okay.
Like they're really nice. They're very expensive.
These are like digital
This one's called
guitars.
a Sennheiser or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a special German manufacturer that make them. They have digital EMG pickups, and then sometimes they don't even have any fretboards
Yeah,
built in,
no
and
frets.
the headstock's gone because
Yeah.
it's a wraparound.
Oh,
So what it
okay.
has is it has a Floyd Rose, like my Ibanez has, but it wraps back on itself. It's a very interesting design. Like, it was really cool. It looks super futuristic. It's like that weird kind of virtual guitar, that kind of digital looking guitar that kid had in Vice Versa. You know, I don't know what he was playing. That kind of, it had a weird, like, it had a digital looking kind of strum area, and it had a digital looking kind of fretboard. So I couldn't understand, like, what exactly that guy had in that scene. But also Vice Versa is another fun film of mine from the 80s. I love a lot of these 80s films.
But the
So,
thing is
it's
that
great.
this film is very much a kind of nice. It was a nice vehicle for Alex Winter and Keanu, and obviously we know Keanu has gone on to mega stardom now with all the films that we see recently
Yeah.
of him. But
Keanu
this was a very
said-
early role for Keanu.
Yeah, and
when he
Keanu
first
was
started off.
quite afraid of it because he loved the success of the film, but he felt like he was always going to be known as Ted. So he said that his
Yeah.
gravestone might say, "Here lies Ted, Keanu Reeves, who played Ted." So thankfully that didn't happen
Yeah.
because not only is Keanu one of my all-time favorite actors, but
Absolutely.
he's an amazing human being. He not only entrepreneurs.
You're
and-
breathtaking.
Exactly, he's so good. I love this guy. I would eat my right arm to like
Yeah.
work with him.
So who
He's
is
so
who was
good.
the film written by, bro?
This film was written by Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon. I think they were like the old school top dogs of the day. You know, like when it came to screenwriting.
Okay.
So they've probably done some big films.
Yeah. Did they do I think they did the second one and the third one, right?
So they wrote the second one and the third one.
Yeah,
they came
yeah,
back.
they
So
did.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. This thing, you know, the film was so successful that it spawned a cartoon that me and Z used to love with
We
an
watched that.
amazing theme tune. It was like, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, most triumph every day, or something like that. I used to
Yeah.
love that song. So that was cool. And then it had like a weird kind of like Canadian kind of, I don't know if it was a Canadian show, but it was like a series. It was called Excellent
TV show.
Adventures. Not Excellent Adventure.
Live action.
Yeah, it
TV
was a
show.
live action TV show, but I don't think it got picked up because I think
No.
there's only like one episode, or
No.
maybe the season
But,
run was
I mean,
short.
there's lots of like references nowadays to this kind of film
Mm,
and stuff, and a lot of new films kind of take the formula of Bill and Ted
yeah,
and stuff and reference it a lot.
I mean there were a few video games. There was like a Universal Studio ride apparently. You know, there was like a Halloween adventure that they did later. Yeah, the live action series was like only 7 episodes. Fox ordered it. So Fox had this running for a bit, and yeah, it just didn't really kind of get
Go
any
as long as the
traction
film,
compared to
yeah.
the CBS version. The thing is, it's very interesting. The cartoon is a CBS production, and the series is a Fox production. So that's very interesting how the
TV
rights had
rights.
like been kind of moved around and stuff. Yeah, so it's just it's very cool. It's very cool because, you know, like after the first film, the second film was made, and then that reflected the time, so that was very kind of Alice in Chainsy, you know, the grungy kind of element. This is very hard rock, Van Halen kind of 80s
surfer
stuff,
era.
surfer kind of lingo.
It's California, isn't it?
It's just wicked.
Yeah.
So this one really gets a high rating from me.
Yeah.
You know, this film is a 5-star. Sorry, not 5 stars. I don't do stars. I do shields.
Exactly.
So this is like
how many shields, bro?
For me, it's 5 shields.
Okay, 5 shields.
I give it a
wow.
solid 5
Okay.
shields.
I'd kind of give it maybe a 4. I think
Mhm.
only because of the age of the film.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff looks really out of date. Like
Mhm.
obviously the tech and the cars and the
Yeah.
setting. Is
But that
real.
I wouldn't really say that
But
that
I
would
think
be a negative.
that's a good thing. It kind of works in its own sense because it's a product of its time.
Exactly. And it's an AU. If you
it's-
treat it as an
yeah,
alternate
it's
reality,
like, it's
then
like an 80s film that you're never gonna forget, really,
Yeah.
because it's one of those cool 80s films that are all about like teenage life and growing up and
Mm.
living with like
and the pressures of
family
like school and other
school
things.
and dealing with that and dealing with growing up and
Mm.
all those sorts of things. So I think it's really nice. It's a really nice film. So I personally give it 4, and Ray would give it 5.
Yeah. So I would say that it gets a score of about 4.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bill and Ted: Excellent Adventure. What a brilliant film. I highly recommend it. So it's got a recommended rating from us.
And we
Check it
say be excellent to
Exactly.
each other.
Because Wyld Stallions rule.
Yeah.
So it's radical. So yeah, definitely check it out. And I want to thank you guys for listening to this podcast. It's been really cool. We'll be talking in the next episode, episode 26, about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So stay tuned for that. And thanks a lot for following Thor. It's going great. Please like, subscribe, and share where you can. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to say, I wanted to thank you for being on the show. So, so thanks a lot, Z, for having my back, and it's always great to talk to you on the show. And the Rep Nights will keep bringing the thunder. So thanks, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.